Hi, this is Mark at Dingdong's Garden. This is Balfour willow. Balfour willow is very pretty in the summer, but the main reason we're out here is to show what willows will look like in the summer when they have such a wintertime characteristic like Balfour. And that characteristic is the huge catkin that you get off of this. Not only is it a pretty catkin on the willow, but we've had some success with pruning them, and then the catkin will remain on the stick long after we've cut it off. So you get some branches with the willow pruned, and then we put them on displays inside. And if we look at the willow right now, you can kind of see the catkin capsule right here. It's already quite large, and that will continue to grow and develop. And then in the early spring, it's a late opening catkin. In the early spring, that catkin will burst open. It'll be brown at that time. If we come down here to the base of the plant, you can see where we coppice it yearly. We coppice all of our willows so we can get that the special characteristics of that willow provides from first year growth. So in this case, on this branch that has been growing since spring, at the top of it, there'll be catkins, which is a special characteristic for this willow. And if we were to let it grow, then that branch would become a trunk, and it would no longer have special characteristics. It wouldn't have those catkins on it anymore. That's only on the first year growth. So we coppice our willow every year, and it grows back. And in this case, it grows back to, 5 to 7 feet. But given optimum conditions, it would grow taller. If you do grow willow for its decorative purposes, you should consider setting it up in some kind of hedge system where you come through every year and you either coppice it to the ground, or you can pollard it, which means you cut it waist high or higher. And that'll give you, then your next year's first year growth will give you the color or the curls or the catkins that you're looking for. Another interesting thing about Balfour, I don't know if you can see here, it's got a hairy stem, which gives it a kind of an extra texture to it that a lot of the other willows with smooth stems don't have. And one final characteristic of Balfour, which is I find interesting, is its foliage is very lush. I don't know, we don't have livestock here, so I don't know if animals would like this, but you can see how lush this foliage is. It's really thick, and I can imagine if I was a leaf eater, this would be pretty tasty. But so that's another option. If anybody out there has used different types of willows in forage, I would love to hear what kinds, so we can share that with other people. And we're becoming more and more price conscious ourselves, and this is just a reminder that, something like this at a local nursery would probably cost a lot. It's an unusual willow tree, but if you were to buy a cutting of it, you save tons of money. So like a cutting from this plant would grow into, over one season, would grow enormously, and you would have the equivalent of a plant that you would have purchased at a nursery in the springtime at maybe 1/10 the price. So when you're shopping for willow, never buy a plant at the nursery unless you can't find it anywhere else. Just buy a cutting, and they have super high propagation rate. So if you get the cutting, you're going to have a 95% chance of it taking root. And with the cost savings, you can buy a bunch of different types of willows for willow cuttings for the same price it would have cost to buy one potted willow at a nursery.